I would say that one, that you should be calm. You should not be anxious at this point in time because you have put in the work and you're about to write the exams, and what you just need to do is to be calm. Think about what you've not yet done. Think of what you need to do to cover up to eventually be fully prepared for the biofinals. The biofinals is simply one of the simplest exams you ever write. This is not the time to be anxious, to fret, or to panic, because it won't help you. Be calm and focus on what you need to do. And also faith in God. Pray that everything works well for you and you do not fall into certain circumstances that might deter your eventual outcome. So keep praying and keep putting in the effort.
My advice to any person who is looking to write the biofinals is that have trust in your preparation. You've done so much, you've done so well for yourself. Just have faith in your preparations and trust that God will crown your efforts.
A message I'll give to someone who's about to write the biofinals would be, you've come this far, you can go further. Do not relent on what you've been doing. Dot your I's and cross your T's. Try to rest enough, because it's a rested brain that can give out the best. And above everything, put your faith in God. He saw all that you did. Your labor of love will not be in vain.
You should stop being nervous, right? Stop being tense. Don't put yourself under any unnecessary pressure. And know you've read. What you've read is enough. Just keep on revising, making sure that what you know, you truly know. And what you don't know, you strive to know. And write well. Write legibly, please. I think people don't usually see this, but write clearly, write well, and pray. God will take control, right?
At this point, I will tell the person not to stress it. Start streamlining your reading, start learning your principles and your sections and your key cases, lean into your friends and your study groups, and rest. Sleep is non-negotiable. You need to sleep, you need to rest, so you have a relaxed mind when you enter the bar finals exam. And also you need to pray, because to take care of any other eventualities that may happen in the hall. So with this, I'm sure that you're going to come out in flying colors.
Believe in yourself no matter what. Just know that you've got this. You've prepared, you've read, you've done all the pre-class tasks. Pray and it will come to pass.
You would hear your lecturers say that bar finals is the easiest exam you would ever write. You will not believe them right now, but as someone who has written bar finals, I can confirm to you that it truly is. I'll say that frankly, bar finals is easy. It is an easy exam. You just have to honor these preparations you're putting in, and whatever background you came from in uni, right? Whatever grade you made, there are people that have gone to law school with that, and came out well. So you will do the same, and you will succeed. You will excel. You'll make a first class.
So the message will be quite short, straight, and simple, and it's be very calm. Do as much revision as possible. Clear up your principles as much as possible. Settle any fraying nerves that you're having, and ultimately, just even when you're about to enter that hall, or even whilst you're in the hall, just really, really be calm. Take your questions one at a time. If you can afford reading 1, 2 times, just read it enough, digest it before writing, ensure you are clear on what you want to write before you start writing. Imbibe the culture of resting properly. Take proper care of your health. If you have any underlying health condition, do not ignore it. Ensure you take your drugs. Do not skip meals. Do not skip your drugs because you feel your drugs will make you sleep. Because ultimately, it's someone that can even keep a semblance of sanity that can write the bar final. So rest well, eat well, read well, and pray well, ultimately.
For my bar final prep, I actually doubled down on past questions. I solved past questions a lot. And I saw that some persons have an approach to past questions that is in some ways wrong, right? Bar finance is an exam that you are going to write. You're not going to read them. So for some persons, they'll just look at the past questions. Oh, okay, I know the answer to this question. I know the answer to this question. Oh, the exam is really simple. But that's not how it works. Trust me. By the time you do that, you go into the hall, you'd see that writing is actually a different thing than actually knowing, right? You may know and you may not be able to really write well for a variety of reasons. So what I did a lot was that I actually took up past questions, read through the questions, timed myself. I would put on my clock, I would time myself, and then I would write as if I was in a hall. In fact, I could physiologically feel like I was in a hall when I did that because, of course, all the emotions would be rising. Say, "Oh my God, I'm actually writing bar finance." So that's what I really did a lot of closer to the exams. And I also looked at the class tags a lot. Instead of picking up bulky materials, instead of going through materials from the very beginning to the end of a topic, what I did was that I had my class tags, right? There was a Microsoft Word document that I had for each course. And for each course, I itemized the class tags from the first topic to the very last topic. And for each of those questions in those topics, I would make a comment. If you are very good with Microsoft Word, you understand what I mean. I would make a comment on that particular question. I'll write down the answer, the principle, and then of course the authority. So what I did was that I would just pick up that document. I will start going through the topics, right? From number one, okay, what's this question? Okay, what's the answer? I would mentally answer the questions and give myself the authority. And if I could not do that, I would just open the comments and then look at the authority and say, okay, this is the authority for this question, this is the authority for this question. And then from there, I would make sure that I had a grasp of, that entire topic. And of course, I also stopped just generally reading. I was thinking of the areas that I felt I was not good in enough. Maybe the courses that were giving me an issue, or a particular topic that I had not been able to get a firm understanding of. And those were the areas that I doubled down on and made sure that, okay, I had a very, very good grasp of them. So that was basically my approach to bar finance, making sure that for each topic in each course, I had a very good understanding of the likely questions from that topic. Of course, if you go through your class tags, those questions cover the entire topic. Any topic you pick up a class tags on, you see that it covers the entire topic. So that's what I did, and I think it was a good way to approach bar finance, and that was basically my approach. Yeah.
So what I would say to someone who's about to write the bar finals is that you have to be very positive, you have to be very optimistic. Your mindset really matters this period, okay? How you think, would affect a whole lot in how you write your bar finals. Like you don't want to go to bar finals thinking that, okay, like will I mess things up? What if I forget my, the things I've read and all that? So you have to be very positive, be very optimistic. Your mindset, have this very positive mindset. Believe that you're going to ace this bar finals. Believe that all the hard work you've put in over the past couple of months would pay off for you. Just be very positive. Your mindset, the way you think, matters a whole lot. And then another thing I would say is that try to practice active recall, okay? Because at the end of the day, what matters is how much you can remember, not how much you read. So by all means, find a way to ensure that you remember all the things you read. So practice active recall. Now is the time to focus more on remembering all the things you read. I believe that by now you should have almost, if you've not covered the syllabus at least once or more than once. So now focus more on remembering the things you've read already. Just ask. You can do this by practicing past questions repeatedly, and then also asking your friends, group discussions, just asking yourself questions just to test how much you can remember. And then lastly, I would say you should practice past questions under examinable conditions. Now, people practice past questions, they are reading the question and they are answering in their head. But it doesn't work that way, right? Reading is different from writing. So you want to actually write it down because in the exam, you are going to write exams. You are going to actually write it down. So you want to start practicing how that will play out in the exam hall, and you time yourself. I'm not talking about practical where you're practicing and then if you don't know the answer, you're checking your book. Like you time yourself, like you're actually in the exam hall and try to practice under that condition as if you're in the same exam hall. Limited time, no external stuff to check for. Just, and how fast you can write in that short time. So, and I believe that you do just fine. I'm waiting for you.
I will say that the most important things, in my opinion, are drafts, MCQs, and tasks. You have to practice drafts. You cannot read drafts. Like, no matter how much reading you do, you have to actually practice the drafts, because drafts are marked sort of line by line, right? They pay attention to structure and all those things. So you have to make sure that you're actually practicing the drafts and knowing them as they are, right? Drafts is not a test of knowledge, it's a test of remembrance. So please practice your drafts. MCQs. I practice MCQs so much that I got to a point where on a bad day, I'm finishing my MCQs in 40 minutes. That's because of how much MCQs I practiced. I was practicing, I was timing myself, but also my MCQ notes was super detailed. So every time I would do MCQs, I would take note of every topic I'm failing and I would go back to revise it. I read theory past questions a lot to achieve three main things: to understand how questions are typically asked and typically structured, to familiarize myself with the way or with my expectation of questions in the exams, but also to see in the marking schemes how questions are typically answered.
One practical advice I would give is that you should have a goal, especially if you're going to be writing your bar exam soon. Have a goal for your MCQs. Tell yourself, I can make 18 over 20, or the least I can make is a 15 over 20, or the least I can make is even a 20 over 20. It's doable, right? I know of someone that I watched her story on Young VIP TV who said she answered only 10 questions in her property law practice and she made a first class. 10 questions and she was still able to make a first class. So anything is doable. You just have to not give up. Keep going. You can do this. And I believe in you.